Good morning and welcome back to Limitless and Unfiltered. Today we are going to be kind of talking about, the life of becoming parents and how it can be one of the most beautiful and transformative experiences in a relationship, but it also brings out lots of stress, lots of no sleep, and a major shift in priorities. So, in today's episode, we're going to dive into how couples can stay emotionally and physically connected while navigating the intense early months and years of parenthood.
10 years. It's so true. And I don't think, I mean, I'm only 5 years in, but I don't think that that'll ever stop. It's intense all the way through.
Yeah, so Maria, since you like for me, I only have a 9 month old, so you've been in this longer in the game than I have. Um, what are some things that you can look back on that you and your husband experienced, going from, the single life and then just it being you two and, what do you guys do to keep that spark alive after having your first and second child?
Yeah, so I think with our first, it's a little bit of a unique situation considering, COVID and all the things that happened, right? Like, it was a different time. So we were kind of stuck at home both together from the very beginning of us having a baby, right? She was born a week after everything kind of shut down here. So that was an adjustment in and of itself as well, like us trying to navigate what it was like to live, breathe everything together 24/7. My job as a dental hygienist always was outside, right? Like I can't do that from home. He was always from homes. Well, not really. He actually used to travel to Toronto to work. Yeah. So, anyways, we were both stuck at home, so that made the dynamic a little different. At first, I thought, oh, this is so great because both hands on deck, and like his job never stopped because they transitioned right into online when all of this happened. But I essentially, was on maternity leave and my job was shut down. So navigating like being together at home 24/7 brought on its challenges, which I never thought it would. I thought it would just be a lot better. I'm like, how great is this? Like we both have the opportunity to like be with the baby and all that. And so one of the things that I say to people is if you think that having a child is going to make your relationship better, you really need to like rethink that or maybe talk to somebody who's already had a child because yes, they are the most incredible things that have happened to both Juan and I, but it tests like children test your relationship to the nth degree. Like it's not a joke. Like when people think that like, oh, I've heard this. I'm having issues with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, like, maybe we should just bring a baby and it'll unite us. It's like no. Like, what are you thinking? Because it, like you said, it adds on an extra layer of stress onto the relationship because now you're navigating like sleepless nights, like sleep deprivation, which is it's huge. And you're navigating a whole new person that has their own personality from the second they come out. Like they will dictate when you eat, when you sleep, when you shower, because your sole focus is on providing, care for this child. And I know that there are a lot of hands-on dad, and my husband was definitely one of those, but it's a very different role than being a mother. And that doesn't mean like breastfeeding or non-breastfeeding. I think regardless of what you decide to do with your baby, it's still mom that is mostly with the child. Like you're the one feeding it most of the time. You're the one changing its diaper most of the time. And add on the fact that, your husband or partner is at home, you start to get a little resentful for certain things, right? So I think we should talk about that first. Like, yeah, we can talk about how to keep the spark alive. And I think for us that came a little bit later and something that I guess I would, if I could go back in time and change or tweak things, it would be to prioritize the relationship from the beginning. You're a relationship regardless of whether you brought this baby into the world. And I think that a lot of parents put their relationship on the back burner when a baby is born, which, by the way, like there are going to be seasons where you have to do that. Right? Like if you're a week postpartum, you're not going out partying with your significant other because you need a date night. Like there are certain times where that baby needs priority and it's going to happen, but for us it took us a long time to like actually focus on each other, so it did strain the relationship at the beginning. And add on top that him and I, we had a baby very close after, which is kind of contradictory because I'm talking about like, oh, we put the relationship aside, but then we had a baby shortly after. Like I would definitely go back in time if I could, and just do small things for each other, right? And maybe communicate more of the feelings of like what I was feeling and what I was going through in the depths of postpartum, like newly postpartum, and feeling like everything was on my shoulders for this baby. I wouldn't change a damn thing because I love her so much, but it's hard. Like it's hard on a mom because most of the time we don't say anything to our partner. And we just kind of sit there and like, when you see them sleeping, I want to suffocate you. Like, one, I love you, but like, I would see him sleeping and snoring, and I'd be like, why can't I sleep? Like, I have now a baby that I have to get up every 2, 3 hours. Like, all of the things that I wish I could have done is just more communication with essentially my husband to like work through all of the emotions.
Yeah. You're
But you're
definitely.
you're in it now, Jenny. Like, what do you like?
Um,
What you guys did at the very beginning? Like, did you guys communicate that, or did you feel kind of the same way?
the first, I would say, like 4 to 6 weeks were pretty tricky for me. Yeah, to the point like where we got like overnight like sleeping nurse or
Mm-hmm.
doula, which was the best money I ever spent. Yeah, and it just got to the point where like I needed to sleep.
Yep.
And but yeah, I totally felt the same way as you did, like when I would see him sleeping and I'd be the one getting up. Like you kind of have like this internal anger for them or resentment. I would say
Mm-hmm.
resentment, but I also think that was probably like the hormonal change that was kind of causing me to have like those,
Mm-hmm.
those mental thoughts and like those emotional feelings, right? And then we kind of came up with a plan because like my husband is really great at communicating. He's better at
Excellent.
communicating than I am, thankfully, because sometimes like yourself, Maria, like I keep things
Mm-hmm.
within instead of, verbalizing how I truly feel. We came up with a plan where we basically, because I went to work 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks after I had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the nights that I would have to work the next day, we would either have the sleep doula or my husband would take over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an
Okay.
early bird. Like I like to go to bed early. I am not a night owl. He is a night owl. So I was like, this doesn't make any sense. If you're going to be up until 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, I might as well go get some sleep. And you give the child a bottle
Mm-hmm.
before you come to bed, and then we're good, right? So we kind of came up with that plan, which has worked really well. Since May, it's been pretty good for me in the sense of I work 3 days a week, super part time. My husband's been on pat leave.
Love that.
Like, yeah, so he's going to be off for a total of 4 months. And so it's kind of really worked out. But we have a system and we were very vocal about our, like, what we needed, how we thought this could work. And we kind of just work like a team.
Love it.
And yeah, like I can honestly say that it like was very organic the way that it just all fell into place. But this is where I say that like communication is like so important because if he didn't communicate with me in the beginning, we could be in that vicious circle still, right? So, yeah.
I think it's great that you guys brought it up like very early on into like your parenting journey because it gives hope to other parents or maybe parents now of like if you're listening to this like really really communicate with your partner because I think for me it was not communicating that like caused more essentially harm to myself because then I overthink things. I was, keeping a lot of things bottled up. And then eventually, because you're bottling things up, eventually that has to come out, right? And for me, it came out in reflection of what was going on in my skin. It came out in gut health issues. So I didn't come out with like an explosive argument with my husband. It came out in like physical aspects for me. And that truly prompted me to like take care of my health and like really dive into like, okay, well, I'm stuck at home with this baby, and the baby is literally a little potato. Like you're feeding it, you're changing its diaper, and then they're going to sleep. Like essentially, right? Like I had a good baby in that aspect. Even though she wasn't a napper from the very beginning. She would maybe take like a 20-minute nap, but I was like, okay, if I can find 20-minute exercises, I need to move my body, and that's where I started to prioritize self care for myself. So I think that will tie into like how to keep the spark alive with your partner because if you're not feeling well yourself, how can you give to another person? Do you know what I mean? So for me, that sparks a conversation with one because I was like, okay, well, I got to do something for myself because I'm feeling XYZ and they're all negative. So what can I do for me to make myself feel positive so then I can actually have the essentially the courage to have the conversation. And Juan and I have always had very open conversations. So it wasn't like I was scared of talking to him, but I was more so like this was new for me. Like motherhood was new for me. I didn't know anything. And yes, I helped when my little brother was born. I was 14 years old, so I always felt like I was his mom, but it's different when it's yours,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, I wish I would have communicated that a lot earlier. I'm glad that you did, because I think it's so key and vital for people to, like moms, to understand that like your voice matters and you need to communicate with your partner when you have a baby of like, what are you feeling? Because otherwise you're just going to hold on to a lot of like negativity, resentment, anger. Like, and postpartum rage is a real thing. Like, it's a real thing. And sometimes, like you said, it's hormonal, so we can't really control it. The only thing we can control is what comes out of our mouth. So yeah, my hot tip would be like start talking from the very beginning. Once you start, becoming a parent, really communicate with your partner like what it is that you're feeling. I think that is the first key to like keeping things alive between you. Otherwise, it's like it starts to hurt the relationship.
No, for sure. And I feel like you're, as a woman, after you have a child, that individual that you were prior to having a baby is no longer exists. So your identity has totally changed. You are no longer Maria before you had a baby. You are Maria with a baby. So that shift in identity, but also like that shift from being this fun outgoing couple to being co-parents, right? Because like in the beginning, like that's what you are. You're in survival mode, right? Like you're like literally, okay, just got to keep this baby alive, get sleep when we can, and function, and just you're just going day after day, week after week, month after month,
Yep.
until like literally one day you wake up and you're like, oh, there's these little outcomes that are occurring because we're like moving into different stages of the baby's growing, he's being able to do like when the child sleeps through the night.
It's like glorious.
Whoa, like that's a game changer. With it, you're like, wow, okay, going to bed at 7, waking up at 7, you're like, wow, I have my life somewhat back. It's never the same, but it's back. But as a woman, like I was mentioning prior, like hormonal changes and how that really does impact our libido. Like, right? Like it just totally depletes it completely, right? Like the thought of any type of intimacy in that timing is like anything in that, like the thought of intimacy,
Hmm.
it's exhausting to it, like it's work, like you feel like it's work and you're just so depleted on every other level that it's the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, like that's the last thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah, whereas like as a man, like that's, let's just be real, it's the only thing on their mind. Now I'm just
Yep.
um
Doesn't change for them.
yeah, so like as hard as it is, it's like don't you don't feel the need to be intimate because you're just so depleted.
Yeah, like you said, you're in survival mode. Add on to that, like the fact that your body changes so much, like confidence wise, looking at yourself in the mirror after you have a baby, you're just like, that's the last thing on my mind right now is
Yeah.
to get naked and have, do the do when like I'm looking at myself and I don't even recognize who I am.
Oh yeah. You
Like that.
just
Yeah. So, if I think for me, one of the first things that I would tell people how to keep the spark alive in your relationship is we've already talked about communication, but I'm going to harp on this, like really get back to like doing something for you, mom. Like really get back to if that means moving your body, if that means starting to eat healthier, if that means like, getting on the track of like doing something that's going to boost your own confidence. You have to pour into you in order for you to pour into your partner. And I think that they can chime in and help us, but it's up to us first to like take that initiative and be like, okay, what am I going to do for myself that's going to increase my own confidence and help me feel better through this journey, adding on a child. Like it's like you said, your old identity stays behind. Sure, there's parts of you that are still there. You're still the bubbly person, you're still all this, but all of that is kind of like on pause until you can come back to yourself essentially. And you need to navigate what are the new things that are in your life and how can you prioritize yourself, because if we're not feeling worthy our own self because we're so depleted, we're so exhausted, we're so in the thick of it, how can you give back or give yourself to your partner. It's too difficult to do that without prioritizing you first. Yeah, so I have a question for you
Sure.
because I know we're contrasted here. You and Anthony were able to, like, your baby's just a few months old now, so you guys were able to leave the baby and travel together for the first time recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without the baby. Like, Juan and I, on the contrast, like, we didn't travel alone until I think my daughter was 3 and my son was 1.5. And like, I have my opinion on that, and I'll share with you now, and then I'll ask you what you think. But for me, it was all a fear thing. And looking back at like how long we waited, like 3 years is a long time
A
of not
long time.
time with your person. And it's just like when we finally had the courage to do that, and we only did it because Juan earned a trip with his company for being a top performer. So it was like we kind of had to go. Otherwise, I don't think that we would have done that. Like, because my mindset was like, I can't leave my kids. Like, no, that's gonna make me a bad mom. Like, blah blah blah. And then we went on the trip, and I'm like, why did we wait so long? Why did we wait so long? Because it was such a reconnection to who you two were as a couple that I was like, whoa, like 3 years was way too long to finally take the step and like, have the time with your partner alone without the children, asking for help. Like, I think that was part of my problem was that I was also afraid to like ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want to feel like I was, a nuisance to people. And I didn't have one, but I had two that I had to, hand over to someone else. But in retrospect now, I'm just like, oh my God, I should have asked way before, like way before. So, well, like, what brought you guys to be like, no, yeah, we need some time alone?
So Anthony, like from the get-go, like, after we got married, like we're like, if we have kids, like our lives, we knew they would change, but we were very like adamant. He was very adamant, like, I'm not allowing my child to stop me from living life.
Love that.
Like, yeah, he's like super strong-minded when it comes to that stuff. So he's definitely one to initiate, like, let's have a date night, like let's get your mom over to babysit for a couple hours, or his mom, right? He's very much like, he likes to plan those things, and he likes to do that. We
Mhm.
now have a hot tub, so he will even be like, okay, I checked the hot tub, we're going in the hot tub tonight, like after work once the baby is, yeah.
Love
He,
that.
yeah, no, he's amazing. But no, for us to go to Miami, like, we have a village. We are very lucky and grateful for our village of help. And, it's hard to ask, but our village loves to help.
Hmm.
And it's the first grandchild on both sides. So yes, everyone just
Love
adores him, and we are super grateful for our families. So yeah, like Anthony's mom will come and stay over. My mom will come by during the day to help if need be. We have aunts, uncles that will come as well.
that. I love
Yeah, we definitely try to make our relationship a priority.
it. Hmm.
Uh, At the beginning, I would say Anthony was really great at that. Me, not so much, because I had the same type of, mom guilt. I
Hmm.
would feel very like uneasy about it because I'd be like, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I going to be judged about this?
Hmm.
Like all these crazy, stupid thoughts would come into my head. And I would just have to stop and be like, no, because you need to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of anybody else. So
Hmm.
if you are not healthy, if you are not happy, and you are not sufficient with how life is going, you are going to be even more miserable.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we went to Miami. We went, long weekend vibe. It was great. We had so much fun. The best sleep. Um,
Actual sleep.
yeah, actual sleep. And yeah, since the beginning of the year, like we've already like planned out another trip. So we're going to we love Vegas, so we're going to Vegas for Labor Day. And yeah, we're going with friends and family, and we already have
Someone to
our
take.
village taking care of our baby, and then another village taking care of our dog. Like,
Love it.
we're planners. I feel like if you can sit down, you can navigate, and you can plan in advance, you can make it happen. And I
Hmm.
feel like planning in advance is great because it builds something up for the two of you to look forward to together,
Of course.
right? And you feel at ease about it because you're organized,
Yeah. You've got
right?
the moving parts already.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think, hearing that, obviously I have a village as well, and very fortunate in that aspect because, I can just call my mom up whenever, even though sometimes like they take months and go to Portugal. So that type of village goes away. And then my mother-in-law is quite busy, so but we can call anybody and they'll show up. Now, my question to you is what do you say to someone who, maybe listening to this and is like, that's great, you have a village, but like I don't have a village. So I have something to say, but I'd love your perspective on that.
Yeah, I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. I feel like, yes, you don't have a village with family, but what about like those close friends? Or you make the best of it and you take the baby with you, right? Like there's no harm in that at all. Like you got to live your life. You got to live your life with your partner. Like if you keep on putting it on the back burner, you're going to start to have resentment towards your child because you're like, "Oh, the reason we didn't go away is cuz we didn't have help and we couldn't go because we had you." No, you take them with you, right? Like you make the best of the situation that you have.
Yeah, 100%. And I see like examples like your mom who was a single mom and like
Yeah.
and your mom had you 24/7. So like, you and I are very fortunate to have a partner that's with us and that help and all that. But like when I hear that, I do want to offer some like advice there because I know that some people are like, I don't have a village. I've heard it many times in like different groups and like, oh, you're so lucky that your mother-in-law or your mom or whoever, right?
Mhm.
What you said is so important. Yes, you can rely on your friends, like your closest friends. We have a group of close friends that like yeah, they've left their kids with us so that they can go on a date night, and we've done the same with them. Like, hey, we have a wedding, it's no kids. Like, do you guys mind like taking care of the kids? No problem, right?
Yeah.
If you don't even have that, like if you're someone who's like, well, I don't have a village in my family and I don't have a village in my friends, what Jenny said was exactly what I was going to say. So Juan and I, when we originally got married, we also said the same thing you and Anthony said. Like if a child comes into our relationship, great. We're very fortunate, very blessed if that happens, but the child has to adapt to our lifestyle because I saw that in my parents. Like my parents didn't stop doing anything because they had two kids. They just went with them everywhere. And then years later, like decades later, a third child came for my parents and it didn't change the dynamic at all. And like my brother and I were already at a stage where we were self-sufficient. Like if my parents wanted to go camping or wanted to do art, they didn't have to worry about him and I because we were already kind of like our teens. But they had a baby and they could have used that as an excuse of like not going camping, of like not going on trips because, well, now they restarted their whole life practically again, 14 years later. But what I'm trying to get to is if you don't have a village in your family, don't have a village within your friends, like you really need to understand that a baby is a complement or part of your life, which means if it means that you have to make the sacrifice, air quotes here, of taking the child with you on a date night, do it. Like if it means taking your child on a 3, 4 day vacation, do it. And like a vacation can be here, guys. It doesn't have to be like, you went to Dominican or you went to, no, it could just be like, hey, we're going away for the weekend to, I don't know, a cottage or something. If it's here for a date night. But take the baby with you. They are a part of your life. Like, don't let a child stop you from doing the things that connect you back together as a couple. Sure, it may look a little different now, right? If you're bringing your baby along with you, but it doesn't mean you stop that. Like, you still have the opportunity to live your life together and reconnect with each other with the baby. And I can give you the example of like, we planned a three couple vacation to Mexico for an entire week, and every single couple had two kids. Every single one of us. So there were 6 kids in this vacation. Was it wild? Yes. Were there tantrums? Yes, they're all toddlers. Most of them are toddlers. There was only one baby that couldn't walk. And like, yeah, it took a lot of effort and, whatever, but if you can understand that they are a part of your life and just because you have a child doesn't mean your life ends and is over and your relationship is over. I think you'll be able to navigate through doing things like that as a group or in your partners by yourself. Like you can make those situations fun. Like you really, really can. It doesn't mean you might not be relaxing because Juan and I went solo on a trip and that's definitely relaxing versus having the kids along with you, but you can still make the most out of it. And also teach your kids from a young age that like they can do the hard things because it's hard. Traveling with children is hard, but it's so damn worth it. You get to see the world through their eyes. You get to see them like they appreciate small things that like we as adults forget about. Like I remember one morning in Mexico where all the kids were just so fascinated by this like little tiny iguana that was walking towards the restaurant. I'm like, none of us would have ever stopped and like looked at that thing, right? So it's a different dynamic, but it's so doable. And for you to reconnect back to your partner and keep that spark alive, like you just got to do the things that you need to do, whether that's without the child or whether that's bringing the child, you can still do that.
And I would like to also say that in the beginning of the relationship, when you feel like your relationship is like dead in the water or over,
Hmm.
just because of your mental
Hmm.
state, does in the midst of it, it doesn't feel like it's going to get better, but it does get better. It truly does get better.
And it's crazy too, Jenny, because I feel like I've had some comments come in about our podcast and the listeners that listen every single week. Again, we're so appreciative of you. But sometimes I had one comment come in where it was like, I don't really have close friends. I don't really have like, besties that I can go to, and I admire that you do. And this girl said, but in listening to you every single Thursday, I feel like you guys are, close to me. And I was like, that's the
That's so
whole
sweet.
purpose. I know that's the whole purpose of this podcast is to connect with you and to make sure that like we're bringing you two perspectives of like real life. Like this isn't curated BS. Like we're talking the real because we've been through it. And we want you to know that there, like Jenny said, there is another side of all of this that is better, that is, more relaxed, that is more manageable. And, if you can connect to that, like I'm so happy that you're here. So, anyways, that was a little off topic, but it brought me to that. Like, if you don't have a village, like, I hope that we can become part of your village when you're listening into us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so a question for you.
Yes.
So now that you are like 9 months, you're like 9 months postpartum, no? 10 months.
Yeah, Friday will be 9 months. He's going to be 9 months. It's so crazy.
So cute. And I love that stage. I think they're in such a cute, like, discovery. Everything is just like a wonder to them.
Hmm.
You're in the 9 months where in the next few months you'll be able to see him like start to like take first steps and like all the things. I don't know when that will happen because it's different for every kid, but it's coming. And so at that time it's going to be a little bit more busy for you guys, but in now that you're in that 9 month period, what would be something that you would say to someone that like is of dire importance for you to reconnect back with your partner to spark up kind of like that love again between you? Because you said the first couple of months is survival mode. I think you're out of that now a little bit. Obviously every stage brings their challenges, but now that you're out of that kind of like haze, what has
Hmm.
been something that has really helped you and Anthony like keep that spark alive?
Yeah, so I would say like anywhere between 6 to 9 months, you kind of start to develop this routine with your child. And like I mentioned, the bedtime routine, putting them to bed at like a decent hour. So we start it around like 6:15, and by 7 o'clock, the latest, he's sleeping, right? So
Oh, it's
that's
amazing.
yeah, it's most nights, we'll say.
Yeah.
So at 7 o'clock, like, we can have dinner together,
Hmm.
right? So we make dinner together. We catch up with, how our day is, how our week is going. We decided to do renovations in our backyard this summer, and so we put the hot tub in, we put the sauna in, so that we had things to do together at home when the baby was sleeping.
Love that.
Yeah, so we try to build out things that we could do together and reconnect together at home. Yeah. Another thing that we do, I'm like, okay, my husband is obsessed. He's Portuguese. He's Portuguese. Making sure his grass is really great. So like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, last night, like I made us coffees. We sat in the front and he was watering the grass. We were just, shooting the shit,
I love that.
just that. And then on Friday night, oh my God, we decided to clean out our air conditioning. So how ridiculous. But it's
Yeah.
because it's been so hot. We're like, why? Like our air conditioning's working, but it's not full capacity. So
Mhm.
anyways, the people that lived here before didn't clean it out very well. So that's what we did. We spent time cleaning out the air conditioning together. And we don't talk. We just like do what we got to do. while we're doing it, but we're in each other's presence and we're, we're working on the house together.
Yeah, the
And
energy
it's
is
just trying to connect in different ways, right? It doesn't always have to be like intimacy, right? So that's kind of how we try to,
yeah. I think I love that. I love that that has been for you guys because I think that when people think of like, oh, I have to reconnect with my person, I think they think of like, oh, a date night has to be at a restaurant or like
yeah.
out dancing or like doing something that requires them to like, let's be honest, put in financials to go do that, take care of the kids somewhere. And
Hmm.
I love that what you just said because I think that that's so important. And I think a lot of couples miss the fact that it can be so simple.
So simple. Like it is so simple. Like it truly is. Like okay, so we bought a cottage, and so our garage right now is like crazy busy with stuff because we're taking everything up this weekend.
Love that.
And so, I ordered us pizza. He came home because he went to go help my mom with some stuff.
Mhm.
And the pizza arrived when he got there. And we literally just sat in our garage on these two little crummy little chairs and just ate pizza together with our dog because the baby was baby was sleeping,
Yeah.
and we were just making plans of, oh, where are we going to put this photo, oh, where are we going to put this one. That's as simple as it can be.
Yeah. Oh my God, it really doesn't take a lot of thought for you to reconnect back to your partner. It
No.
can be all the small things like when you said that you and him like cook together, bro. Like I wish people understood that that simple fact of like doing something together hands on, that is such a connector piece between you and your person that will eventually, start to build up that spark again. It brings you back to like yeah, this is why I fell in love with you because like all of these small little details. I didn't fall in love with you because we went away to Turks and Caicos, Like that's not
Yes.
the reason. So I think people need to get out of their head of like I need to spend all the money to do a date night. Just do stuff at home with your partner. Put the kid to bed, and if the kid is like mine and did not go to bed, put them in their little bouncer, okay?
Yeah.
Put them in a bouncer and then do things together. We used to do that. I mean, we were stuck at home because of COVID, but we used to do that all the time. Like he would finish his work and he would come downstairs and we would put the baby down and it's like, okay, what do you want to cook together? And that is such a connector. Like that is such
Yeah.
a it's magical without you having to spend a goddamn dime. Not a dime. So I love that. I love that you guys do that because I think it helps, the listeners to be like, okay, I really don't have to fork up time financials to looking up a babysitter for me to reconnect back to my person. We can bring back the spark by just doing the mundane. It's wild.
Yeah. Totally.
Love that. Okay, so um I think last little bit here, what would be your I mean, we've given all these tips. So like number one tip for a mom who's in the thick of it right now. Like okay, you're a month postpartum, your baby's not sleeping. You want to suffocate your partner because they're sleeping.
Mhm.
What would be your advice for someone who's right now in that listening to this and probably be like, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
And yeah, so there's nothing wrong with not being able to see the light. I was definitely there. I think right now just concentrate on surviving, and then literally one day you will wake up and you'll be like, oh, okay, it's getting better.
Mhm.
And just know that it will get better. Even in your hardest moments or your darkest thoughts, just always come back to it will get better because I was there. I felt it. I couldn't see the light, and the light did appear. So just stay focused on survival mode, taking care of your child, knowing that yes, you and your partner, husband may feel like you are roommates at the moment. And that's okay because everybody else in the entire world has felt the same way, and it will not be like that forever.
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone wants to get rid of that roommate phase. Like, I've heard other people say like, "Oh, let's get rid of that," or like, "Let's make sure that our relationship never gets to that." Like, I never want to be. Sorry, like the harsh reality is that if you bring a child into this universe, there is going to be a time where you do feel like roommates, where the tasks are heavy. Like that's just part of parenting. We want you to understand that that is only a small fraction of parenting, and
Yeah.
it's dark and heavy in the time that you're in it. We've all been in it, all of us. Like we've all been in that moment where we're just like, I can't even see like tomorrow, because you're constantly in that like I need to focus on what I'm doing today. And so Jenny has like this perfect thing where she always says, take it day by day, and those day by days will then turn into weeks by weeks. And then those weeks by weeks will eventually turn into months by months. And then at that point, you're like, oh, now I'm 3 months in, and like I can't even remember how hard it was when I first started.
Exactly.
It's so much easier now. So time will give you the opportunity to essentially heal from within and to reconnect, but always remember that you can reconnect in the small, mundane little things of the day.
Well said, Maria.
Love that.
All right.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys come next week, and we'll bring you something new next week. Good. Bye.